How long, because I love the way you process your images.
Yeah, I was wanting to talk about that.
They have a very timeless and filmic quality about them. How long did you, and it's something that I feel like doesn't actually have a destination either, because you're always like tweaking, right? You're
Tweaking
always
your
subtly refining your
Tweaking your look.
Yeah.
But how long did it take you before you landed it the way that you process work today?
Well, thank you for saying that, because I feel like that is one of the things that I'm constantly like judging myself on,
Yep.
whatever, critiquing myself. Like that is. So my main goal is that I do hope that in 20 years it'll still look it'll look classic.
Right.
It won't look over edited. Of
Right.
course, when I first started with my digital,
Yep.
and you put it
Yep.
into
Lightroom or Photoshop or
yeah,
whatever.
it wasn't even that. It was what's on a
Sony
Apple computer.
Vega. Oh, that would be iMovie and or
iPhoto.
Photo.
Yeah,
iPhoto.
Yeah.
Right.
And like you enhance the
You're cranking everything.
Yeah, everything is like crazy enhanced.
Colors are
and-
crunchy.
So I can look back in that and be like, oh. But
Overdid that.
I cooked that one a little bit. I cooked it.
yeah, those greens are real bright.
They're nuclear.
But once I started really working on like loving the documentary type photos and stuff, I just really wanted it to look and feel like something timeless.
Yeah.
So, I've been working on that for a long time and still continue to like be like, I mean, I've asked Mel, like I have a couple other photographers and I'm like, check me on this.
Yeah.
If things are starting to look weird,
Right.
Let me know.
let me know. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you're looking at something for so long.
Yeah, you don't see all the little things that may be going like weird with it.
Yeah.
But
So there's a couple photographers that I've just reached out to them and been like, if this is looking a little off, the
If we're looking
coloring's
wonky.
off or something, yeah, let me know. I want it to be as true to life as possible.
Yeah.
I think that speaks so highly on you, though, because you may not know this. This may be new information to you, but you're sitting with two what I would call super fans of your work.
Thank you.
But it absolutely makes me even more of a super fan to know that as what I would call the go-to for family sessions and the stuff that you do, that you still have the wherewithal, the humbleness, humility, whatever you want to call it, to still consult with people and say, hey, like where's this going? That's something that, you know, we talked with Jennifer in her episode about like being approachable and things like that.
Oh, that's a whole nother, that's the whole,
It's a whole nother subject, but the fact that you're going to other people, again, as what I would call a top dog in our industry, like, dang, that's rad.
I do not feel like
That's
like
rad.
the top dog at all.
Nobody ever does though.
I'm always, imposter syndrome, like it creeps in so bad.
Yep.
I mean, pretty much weekly, you know, like
Oh, yeah.
one day I can be like, oh, okay.
This is why I'm a photographer.
Maybe I know what I'm doing here a little bit.
Yeah.
And then like the very next day, like,
I am a worm.
Yeah.
Like you're just,
yeah.
you feel so bad.
I think a lot of times that's with just artists in general.
It is.
is, for
We
sure.
second guess a lot. But I do. I respect you highly for that. And again, like as a super fan over here, especially now that I know the backstory from, you know, your film background, your personal family documentation, I now know why I see what I see whenever I'm looking at your family sessions.
Yeah.
From other families, I'm like, okay, this is the story behind Bonnie's style. And I've always described your style to other people as, I would call it comforting. It's it gives me a sense of nostalgia.
Yep.
I almost feel at times like you're shooting on film because it is so filmic. And I'm like, this is lovely.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I enjoy.
Thank you.
The thing that I've noticed too is, without realizing and hearing you say the words, because I just now learned that, but like you said that your favorite is just basically documenting, right? And so that kind of answers a question that I had. Garrett and I've talked about this before. I would consider myself a picture taker as opposed to what I guess I'll just loosely call a picture maker. For instance, and what I mean by that is, if you have like a list of attributes and I'm listing out my attributes of strengths and weaknesses, I would call posing a weakness of mine by far. Like I don't know, for whatever reason, I get great anxiety. I can have 27 poses in my mind for this senior session I'm about to go shoot.
And then I do about 2.
And well, then I'll just
on the drive home, you're like, man,
yes,
all these other ones I can do.
But what I take away from all the sessions is most of my favorite work of mine is it's the candid moments that weren't posed. It was the in-between moments where I'm still firing off. You didn't realize it, but you guys just made gold in front of this camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
You thought you were like,
well, like your 2-year-old.
You thought it was over. You know, those are the moments that I. And so, like, I would call that picture taking because you're capturing the moment as opposed. And the people who are really good at posing, like. They're wizards too. Because
I'll take Jennifer for example. That's what she does is she poses people here in the studio.
I think there's for what I do that is not full documentary.
Yeah.
There is a balance between the both.
Yes.
Because there's people come and they're like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
So then you have to
I
help
do
them.
talk through a lot of poses, but it's more like I would say prompts to get them to feel
just to get them comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
To just enjoy their family.
Right.
Like, so my main thing is I want to capture your connection to each other, not your connection to my camera.
Right.
Bingo.
Right.
That's always, it's like, so don't feel like, you know, and every parent's going to be like, look at the camera, look at the camera.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, you don't actually
No, you
have
don't
to
have
look
to.
at the camera.
Nope. Don't have to at all.
Like, I could care less if you do the entire time.
Yeah.
Right.
I usually try to get at least one picture where
Right.
everybody's looking.
Because it's
We
the one they want.
Get that one for grandma.
Yeah.
And then
For
we're
Christmas,
done.
yep.
Yeah. But for the rest of the time, I'm like, I could care less if you look at the camera.
I want to be a fly on the wall, and I want to capture your all's
I
personalities.
can tell Melissa has spent a lot of time with you because she was that way with our family session. You know, it was very playful.
Yeah.
And especially with the kids, you know, our kids are
Sometimes
6, 5,
I get
and 2.
the kids a little too riled up.
Yeah, well,
Like,
but that's the
okay.
thing. But it works for them because kids, and this is something that I know just from documenting the lives of our kids, they have a very small threshold for how long dad can have a camera in their face.
Yeah.
So the more that I can be kind of elusive and behind the scenes and more documentary with family life, like the better my family images turn out. Because kids, they don't care. They don't want to be posed.
Right.
No.
They just want to live life.
And I think with your own family, the less you ask them to pose,
Right.
the better.
Right.
Like they're gonna, if you're always like, hey, look at the camera, look, then they're gonna be so over it.
Well, then you're just the weird dad with the camera at all times, and admittedly, that's probably me.
I mean, the other thing for me, which I think stems from like wanting to document moms in the pictures, is wanting them to feel seen.
Yes.
So, and then I think that turned in also to my senior work.
Yeah.
So just wanting people to feel like they've been seen and understood, and that
they matter.
that I could capture who they really are.
Yeah.
The kid picking their nose. Like I tell the kids all the time, I'm going to talk to you the whole time when you take pictures. So I'm going to ask you questions and you just keep talking to me.
Yeah.
So, and I tell the parents that too, because a lot of times they're like, no, just stand still, just smile, just stand still. And I'm like, no, it's okay that they talk.
Yeah.
And thank goodness it's not film.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
because I'm just snapping away the whole time.
Oh, so you're a machine gunner.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm
But you
major
have to be because you're
overshooter.
documenting.
Yeah.
You're documenting, so you have to be.
And I love it. Like, I mean, I could do a family session could easily have 200 pictures.
Absolutely.
Like final edited pictures.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big
I mean,
deliverable.
Yeah.
That is
Nice.
a bit deliverable.
I mean, I
did
try
not know
to
that.
get it down to 150
know.
because I feel like it's
Why
overwhelming
is it so
to the
hard?
client. But I could easily probably give them 200.
Wow.
So like, so again, as
I'm lucky to have 200 usable images.
Oh, well, I probably took 2,000. So.
well, that's what I was going to say. Like as a self-proclaimed picture taker, and you are searching for those moments. Inevitably, what that means is you shoot almost the whole time, essentially, right? So that you do get those moments.
High speed burst mode is your friend.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's well. So here's the thing, like, and I'll even. This is probably crazy, but I'll even burst like the posed family bits because you never know when Timmy's going to close his eyes.
Yeah.
Billy's going to close his
Johnny's
mouth.
gonna
I mean,
sneeze.
just all these. It's just like you need to have those heads, right? Even though it's static.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm snapping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like so. that's the importance of I guess what they'd call motor driving there. Yeah, you're gonna
high-speed burst.
You're gonna take a lot, but the trade off of that is you're gonna get those moments.
Yeah.
Well, you get those moments, and then at that point in time, you've got a lot to choose from.
That's true. Gives you tons of options.
As the editor.
And I just, even if they're just slightly different,
Yep.
like just a little tiny nuance, like I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe mom's going to like that one a
Yeah.
little more than that one. And I
Yep.
don't want
I'll
to
give
be
her
the one to
both.
choose.
Which
So-
one of
give her
these is,
both.
yep, the personality.
Yeah.
So I think I would like to segue here and talk about you briefly mentioned it. I want to talk about the importance of investing in education,
Yeah.
mentor. Did you have a mentor?
I did not.
You did not have a mentor,
I
but you
mean,
bought education. You bought courses.
I purchased some education, and I did some like actual physical education where I went there.
Yeah.
And it was for a weekend, but
So
that's
it's
the
like a
kind of
workshop.
learner I am
Yeah.
too. Like I
Very
needed
hands-on.
her. She was a Nikon shooter.
Yes.
So she literally was showing everyone, okay, the buttons are on the right, the buttons are on the left, and
Wow,
so it
that was
was
helpful.
She's showing you the ins and
Huge.
outs of the tool
yes,
that you're using.
yes.
Well, and it was specific to her. Like,
That's what I'm
that's
saying,
awesome.
like the tool.
Yeah,
the
that's
tool
awesome.
that you're using.
Yeah.
So there's no guesswork.
So
I think-
that part was great, and then I've done quite a few online courses that I've paid money for that have been amazing that
Yes.
I could do on my own time and would totally recommend.
Right.
So
I think there's something to those in-person events, though.
Oh,
I
way
personally,
more.
I'm a very visual and hands-on learner. Like I do get value from video courses and stuff like that, but it's like, man, to literally be,
I don't think I'd be where I am right now if I didn't go to that
Right.
class
oh yeah,
for sure.
I mean, one
Absolutely.
benefit of that is like you can't pause and ask a video like the question you have on your brain right then
Right.
oh, that's
versus
true.
in person.
Yeah, I'm not seeing.
Yeah, like in
Yeah.
person,
You know.
you can literally raise your hand and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, real quick, like, how do I do X, Y, Z?" Or
Right.
Yeah.
any question that you have. The beauty of online is you can do it on your own time. I'm certainly a hands-on learner as well. Like I love shadowing. I love being on location, literally in the trenches.
Yeah.
Learning. I think
Yeah,
that's fun.
and I think that was super important for me for my first class.
Oh, yeah.
like for it to be hands-on.
Yep.
And
Oh, yeah.
be right there with her in person, and
Yeah.
so
Well, but you had shot film, so you
Yeah.
knew speed, right?
Yeah,
So you knew
a
your
little-
ISO
a little bit.
variable a little
Yeah.
bit, and you'd seen that sort of thing. But it's a lot. Like it's pretty daunting. Like even with current tech and as good as mirrorless cameras are and all these things, like you've still got to know a pretty good amount of technical foundation, and it can be a lot.
I think for me the benefit of having the art background, then I could learn. I could be taught the technical background.
sure.
The technical stuff.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm not always sure it's the other way around.
There's
So-
certainly something to be said for technical versus artistic because there are plenty of people out there who, for example, the guy who built your camera may not be able to actually operate your camera because on the assembly line, he's just assembling a microchip into your camera.
Right.
So he built the camera.
Yeah.
He knows all the technical aspects of your camera, but he can't actually use it.
Yep.
Well, even like the user guide that came with my camera.
Somebody
I'm like,
typed that up.
Did it
They don't
use it?
know. They
Yeah.
don't know what it's going to do in a family session when
Yeah.
you've got 5 3-year-olds running around. But you, the artist, understand that,
Right.
and you, through experience,
Through
have come to
experience.
understand that.
For sure.
Which I think I would say it's probably easier for an artist to learn the technical side of things than vice versa.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know any other way, but
Yeah.
I would agree as
Yeah.
well. And when you asked about mentors, I've had quite a few people that we bounce ideas
Absolutely.
off of all the time.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, you and
learn from
Melissa
each
giggle
other.
and braid hair like twice a week.
yes, Mel and I, we hang out all the time.
Yep.
Katrina Serene, she
Yep.
has been an amazing support for me here,
Yeah.
especially in Greenville, because when it's hard to make your name. I was the kid that was from South Florida that nobody really wanted to talk to.
Well, yeah,
So,
right.
but she was never that way.
Yeah.
She was amazing and always.
Katrina's been supportive for a long time. She actually did mine and Sarah's engagement photos a long time ago.
Yeah, she's the OG of
Been doing it for a while. Been doing it for a while.
but has been as more and more photographers have come into the area, I feel like she is just always super supportive
Always
and
vocal.
amazing.
Yep.
So I would say she's one of my biggest cheerleaders here in Greene County. So, and I've run into some other things that were not quite as nice.
Yes.
So
I think we've all
Most
experienced
definitely.
that.
So
Listen, you're always going to have trolls.
You're going to have some Richards.
and I want to be like how Katrina was to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
To Mel, to whoever. I don't feel like Mel needs my help, but
Listen, I think it can be as simple. I think tons of people can help tons of other people in ways that may not even be like.
well, just being a cheerleader.
Absolutely.
I was going to say just encouraging, like
Yeah.
Bouncing
not
ideas
being a
off
piece
of,
of poop, just being nice.
Well, so like here's one thing too. Like it's one thing to get feedback from a client, but when you can get feedback from someone else who knows like
Another
the ins and
artist.
outs, because they can speak a little, they can speak on a different level, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
listen, on this set,
Yeah.
greens were a little,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they can get granular with you,
Right.
and that's something that you need to hear.
Yeah, you need
Like,
that feedback
you
from
need
a
that feedback.
professional.
It's like, I don't know what was different, but your highlights were just not quite, there was something off. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like you can,
Absolutely.
that feedback is so invaluable.
Absolutely.
And that's something that other photographers, fellow artists can give you that a client really
Right.
never could. They're going to give you good feedback in the sense of like, I love the work.
Yeah, they'll-
it's going to
they'll
be
tell you
more
what they like and what they don't
generalized, right?
like.
But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
if you're going to like continually increase your skill set and continually get better, it's going to be through getting those pieces of feedback from other peers.
Right.
Well, and peers that are actually open to it. And again, that's one thing that I appreciate you for. People like Mel, people like the Nuns, Scott Henry, like people just even in our local photographers group, I feel like we have a good group of people who are willing to share that information with each other.
Yeah.
For example, again, previous episodes when we were talking to Jennifer, she had the Nuns come out to the airport to shoot her
Yep.
motorcycle session. Something that's not in their element. That is not their discipline. They are wedding photographers through and through. But we recounted the story at the China buffet meetup that we had, where Jessica was wanting to practice different types of photography.
Okay.
And Jennifer, subsequently was able to help her scratch that itch because she's like, "Hey, come shoot my motorcycle session."
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's the type of stuff that the community needs
Yes.
in order for everybody to thrive and raise each other up. That's how we all get better. Is with stuff like that, and I love that. I love that about the community.
I think about that saying about, I won't say it exactly right, but lighting someone else's candle will never make yours dimmer.
Bingo.
And
Bingo.
that just makes so much sense to me.
That might be the title of this episode.
All the, what is it? All the ships rise when the tide comes
Rise
in.
with the tides.
So yeah, that's something that, and I hate that I've had this like brought up to us, but recently I've learned that I don't know if it's hesitation or if it's a perception that's just off, but a lot of times people will say, I don't really feel like you were approachable.
Maybe you just look like a bully. Did you ever think about that?
It's possible. I don't want to be though. Like,
Maybe you're very intimidating.
like truly, if I know anything today, I know it because I asked somebody at some point a question.
Right.
So I got it from somewhere.
Right.
Right. I'm more than willing to share it
Right.
because again, it elevates everything, right? Everybody grows at that point. And so, yeah, I think it's so important to help beginner photographers, but see, like I'm always really, really hesitant. Like if I see a beginner starting out and they're making mistakes, I'm so hesitant to like reach out and say, hey, maybe consider trying this next time.
Yeah.
Now I
What's
know
the
how
difference if they reach out and say, hey,
Right.
give
it
me
is.
some tips.
It is. I personally, again, I grew up playing sports and being coached and sometimes coached really hard. I personally would have been okay with that had a photographer reached out to me. But I also know that not everybody's like Jared. And so that may not be well received, but it's one of those things where that person may be asking the question, but they just don't feel as though
don't even know how to ask the question.
That's true too.
I've got a great place for that. You go to any like film photography page and join that bad boy. They will chime in with any amount of information that you do or do not want. Because I'm in all of them.
There's some real People feel like they can give their opinions about everything.
Oh yeah.
Film photography, there's some groups, and I know it's just some old Richards in there who are waiting for somebody to like underexpose that Portrait 400 that they paid $27 a roll for.
Listen, you don't want to underexpose film.
No, but I'm just saying, like the film photography groups, they'll give you info whether you want it or not.
You can get by with underexposing a digital image to a degree, but not with film.
Yeah, film's less forgiving on the shadow side.
But like, so that's something that when I joined the photographers group in Greenville, I was blown away because I didn't know it existed, but when I found it and I saw it, I was like, gosh, there's over 200 members. I didn't know there were over 200 photographers. Yeah. But then I got to thinking, I was like, and then I was scrolling the activity.
Less active, which we're trying to change.
Right.
We're trying to change that.
That was something that was such a welcome thing when you started doing the weekly prompts. I was like, yes, let's pour into this. And so what started that?
So, one of our dinners.
Hey, come to a meetup and you'll be a part of that conversation.
Well, I know. I've got to work on that. I'm an introvert, dude.
Actually,
Jared likes his heel.
I wanted it to be a prompt that would get people taking pictures, not looking through the archives.
Right.
So
True.
Like to get your
she just called me out. Daggone it.
I'm guilty too. Mine are archival.
Well, that's what everybody did. And that's why I haven't shared yet on your prompt because I haven't gotten my camera out. But that was my initial like thinking. Like, we need to. So you see a prompt, don't dig through your archives. Try to come up with something, a creative way to shoot this prompt.
Well, this is good because I just put out the new prompt for the week,
right?
And I've not gotten my camera out yet.
The layers. So I've been thinking, how am I going to photograph some layers?
I've got an idea, Bonnie. I've got to go to the photographer's page now and lay down some ground rules.
Yeah, let's let this one go. We'll let this one go. But like, this is good.
I talked
for
to Mel
next
about
week.
that.
I'll be like, look, Bonnie said.
No, I'm like, everybody was finally jumping in and posting stuff. So I don't want to put rules on it. No. But that's what
Bonnie said. You guys are doing this wrong.
No, I just encouragement to get your camera out. To shoot something that different than what you would normally shoot.
Well, I'm still encouraged even by the archival posts.
Yeah,
because it's activity and it's somebody who's like, okay, this was my interpretation of that word. Yeah. And I've seen some really creative interpretations. I was like, gosh, I never would have thought of that. But yeah, that works. You know? So it's cool to even see.
I like when people will comment like, why do you like it? Not just a heart, but like, this is great because, or I love this framing, or I love this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I think that's how we all learn too, is by, why does someone like this image? Because of the composition, or because of the colors, or because of what?
We'll lay some ground rules. Don't you worry.
I think so. Here's what we're gonna have to do.
And then nobody's gonna post.
No, that's not true.
I'll tell
we'll
them
make
it was
sure.
Bonnie's idea.
So like, say
I gotta get to work when I get home.
Say on Mondays the prompt comes out, right? Knowing that there's a prompt the next week, I don't know. We got to figure out some sort of timeline, right? Because you've got a week essentially, I guess, right? To go get a photo
off the couch and go take a picture.
Yeah,
right.
That's doable.
I think so.
That's doable.
A week to go take one
Even
image.
if you're not a professional, like if you have a day job, you've got a week. Like, that's doable.
Right.
Shoot, if you're in an office, there's a stack of papers beside you. That's layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on now.
So just trying to think of something in your day-to-day
in the mundane
that makes you see something different.
That's a good point.
I like that.
I think my camera is almost like a magnifying glass sometimes, like things that I wouldn't normally see, I see through the viewfinder.
Lens,
Yeah.
So you mentioned you've got several photographers that you like to bounce ideas off of. You guys all the time are, conversating and stuff like that. I really do feel like the community here is very supportive for the most part. Again,
I can agree.
There's not.
There's a couple of Richards.
There's not. But by and large, people are super helpful. And here's the thing, like every photographer that I've spoke to in the area, like when you congratulate them, they too deal with imposter syndrome first off, right? So like
we're all the same.
It's like,
yeah, we are.
Oh, no, so like there's humility right off the bat, but then when you can ask them a question about like, how have you been combating all this green that we have? Well, actually what I do is like I make sure that I always shoot shadow side or whatever, right?
Yeah, whatever their process is.
Whatever their process is, but you can kind of you can learn from people who.
I had someone ask me specifically in the editing, how do you edit your greens?
Yeah.
Because it's hard. Our area is super green this time of year.
And
super green.
Nuclear green.
What I do in the fall doesn't work for what I do
Nope.
right now.
Nope.
So,
Right.
you know, so I'm like, these are my adjustments on these different things.
Right.
And
Welcome to the HSL slider.
yeah.
Yeah, that. And here's the sucky part about digital directly compared to film, because I feel like we can say this because you've shot film. Film handles green a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot better.
By far.
Straight out of camera, just normal standard develop times, all these things.
Also
Green's-
handles the green right out of your bank account.
Well, no, that's true. It is expensive. Digital, right out of camera, it's like,
tough.
gosh, that's really saturated.
tough.
Yeah.
That's like,
Do you guys said you date around.
I'm a Canon guy.
Canon.
He's a Canon guy.
So that's another thing that I've seen is very different, even just in the raw
Yes,
photos.
there
is. Oh, yeah.
Very much
There's
so.
A huge
The way they
difference
handle
in
it.
the color
Absolutely.
Between brands.
Nikon and Canon.
Canon and even Sony. Sony has been notoriously nuclear with their greens in the past.
Sony used to really struggle. They've gotten a lot better.
They've gotten better.
But like right out of the gate, same kelvins and everything.
Yeah.
And I know this specifically because the nuns shoot Sony and Canon. Raw files at the same ceremony with the same kelvins. Garrett's will always be slightly warmer, and that's a Canon thing.
Yeah.
I've not compared it side by side with like Nikon's. So for me, the big draw was I started with Canon, and I always thought that Canon did a really good job with. To me, the toughest thing was skin tones. I always thought Canon did a really good job with skin tones. Whereas, like I've seen several Sony photos when they first started out, it's like, it's not. That's not.
I feel like Nikon, even though, has always been really true.
They've always been,
they've been
from what
always
I've
true to
seen
life.
on the outside looking in.
And now Nikon owns Red, so
The cinema camera.
yeah.
So
Go
what?
Nikon.
So you started Nikon. What is it that you like about?
It's
Because you've seen the comparison. So like,
So
what
it's
do
just
you
what
see
I've
difference wise?
so like when Mel and I shot together.
Yes, she's Canon.
Where she's Canon.
Good old
and
5D.
We were trying to like make sure all our settings were the same and
Yep.
we were just looking on the back
Yeah.
of our screens, right? So not even on a true
Yeah.
computer screen or anything, but like hers brings out a lot more of the reds.
Yes.
Yep.
It is a little
Magentas and
heavier red.
reds.
Yep.
And like Nikon was bringing out the greens.
Yeah.
Yes, and the yellows.
So, yep, greens and yellows.
Yep.
So, not that either one is bad or different,
Right.
but
No.
You just have to know how to process it.
I mean the thing, and then when people buy presets, I don't understand how anybody can sell a preset because
It's tough.
You don't know what camera they're using or what their
No.
settings are. Like
It's
if
tough.
you expect to buy a preset and put your preset
Well,
on your work and make it think that it's going to
The-
look like that person's work. It's
there's a
not.
disclaimer with
I was
all
going to
of
say,
them,
you
but
have
like
to have a
it's
disclaimer with presets.
it's like, look, this results are certainly going to vary. They're going to vary like
Pretty
day to day
drastically.
even.
Yeah.
This preset may have been completely built out of a sunny environment.
Right.
You
The
try and throw it on an
season,
overcast fall
all
day,
of
it's
it.
not going to work.
Season, camera that was shot on, time of day, like if was it foggy that day, was it not foggy? Like there's so many variables, especially on the photo side, and video too. Like it's so manufacturer specific when it comes to presets.
I would say today though, like with RAW specifically, you can match cameras.
Yeah, a whole lot easier.
It's
than you
just
could
a
back in the
matter
day.
of like knowing, for instance, Canon's reds are going
Right.
to be slightly different.
Right.
Nikon's greens are going to be slightly different.
For like the nuns that working together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or your second shooter someplace, you want to make sure that you're
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, heck, we do it
settings
on
are
the video
close
side.
to-
We're matching Lumix cameras and Blackmagic, for this.
Yeah.
It's you just have to know the quirks and the
Yeah.
ins and outs of each one of them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with photo or video.
So, would you encourage people to get involved in the photography community? And what maybe are some steps that they can do to actually start doing that? Because it sounds like you did that from scratch here, so you should be able to speak to that.
to maybe be brave. I was really
Yes.
shy.
Okay.
I was really shy and introverted and felt like, I'll never get into the
Yeah.
community. So it was someone who reached out to me. It was
Okay.
Katrina, really.
Oh,
Nice.
Who reached out to me and just start pulling me in.
Yeah.
So I hope I could be that to somebody else.
Yes.
But maybe if you are on the shy side, to just be like, just put your foot out there and step in, and hopefully someone will be like, yeah, hey, try this, or this. A lot of the questions are, where did you shoot that?
Yeah.
And
I see a lot of location
years ago, nobody
questions.
wanted to share their location.
Right. It's like fishing holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
I ain't telling you where I caught this fish.
Yeah.
Right. So now I'm like, oh, it's right behind here, whatever.
Yeah.
Have fun, or it's best if you do it at this time of day at this spot, or because, and I mean, I can only say it's the Lord that's been good to me and my business. So
Absolutely.
I want to share that with anybody else who's trying it.
Well, you know where it comes from, so.
Yeah,
Listen,
it's not from me.
Right.
It's from the Lord.
Absolutely.
So,
If you got good news, your job's to share it.
I love that. I love that. I do, and I agree. Like I think somebody, if you'll just take that step of a little bit of uncomfort, that first step into a community, somebody that's already in the community will gladly take you under the wing or have those conversations with you. And that's locally and even I would say abroad. I mean, we're a part of photography communities. It's literally across the world.
Yep.
And there are people in every single community that we're in that are so helpful.
Yeah.
Those outweigh the ones over in the other corner giving you noise.
And you might still get some noise.
You're going to get some noise.
Or no noise.
Yeah,
like
or no
sometimes
noise.
I feel like sometimes you get crickets.
Yeah, you're
like,
shouting into a void.
Yes.
Yeah, like
right.
part of another community that I'm scared to death to post in
Yep.
because they all are like amazing, and I feel if I post and nobody responds, then that is just as scary.
You get no response or you get like trashed.
Yeah.
So
I've experienced very little personally. I've experienced very little of the troll side of things.
Yeah.
Certainly.
But I do
exists.
enjoy the trolls because I like having fun with them.
Well, so specifically,
I have never experienced a troll here in Greenville.
No, not in Greenville.
No.
Not in Greenville.
So I would encourage someone say you find yourself, let's say you find yourself being drawn to the family photo side of things. Mm-hmm. I know you're looking at the people who are already doing it, and you've got people in your mind. You're like, gosh, I really like their work. Mm-hmm. Reach out to them. Send that DM. Yeah. I can almost guarantee you it's going to be met with, gratitude.
I can't tell you how many times I have sent example pieces, photo and video, to a person that is one of my mentors. Just said, yo, tell me what I'm doing wrong here, or tell me what I'm doing right so that I can duplicate that next time. Like that's
for sure.
I think that's one of the easiest ways to just say, hey, do you care? When you've got some time, just give me some notes.
Hey, I just did this
that hands-on, like, come with me.
Yeah, can I come on a shoot with you?
Absolutely.
Can I come on a shoot with you?
Absolutely. I think that's super helpful. So yeah, I would just encourage people to do that. Reach out, send that DM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, if you're in Greenville, get in the photography group.
Photographers of Greenville.
Literally
POG.
Post your questions on there. Like
Join the POG.
I got some really good feedback when I asked, like, what was something that you constantly struggle with starting out?
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that don't normally comment jumped in there.
Yeah, they jumped in.
It was nice. There's some good.
Like, you know what? I forgot about that. Yeah, that did struggle with that. So yeah, it's really cool to
join
grow
the
the community.
Join the community.
Absolutely.
Bonnie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you
for coming on with us today. This has been
Absolutely.
fun. This has
Lots
been
of fun. Listen, I know you were nervous and you told me you were an introvert. I can't tell.
I think you crushed it.
Yeah.
Definitely introvert and was definitely a little nervous. So.
I think you did so good that we'll probably have you back for another episode or 5.
Bingo. Bingo.
Well, y'all better start listening.
There we go.
Absolutely.
And then
this is great, guys.
No, we appreciate you. This was cool. Jared, on that note, there are also some things that our audience can do if they've enjoyed listening to Miss Bonnie, the queen of family photography.
Well, first off, book a session. When you're looking, look no further.
You have a website.
I do.
Link in description below.
It's Bonnie Wid Photography.
Ooh.
WID.
Yes.
My last name's Widmaier.
Widmaier,
That's a little much, so.
I got you.
It's a mouthful.
BonnieWidPhotography.com.
Yep.
You can even book a session online.
Look you there. Book a sesh.
Everything you need to know.
You're removing all the
Pricing,
barriers
all the
there.
Stuff.
Link in description below. There's some other things, Jared, that we would appreciate from our audience if they've enjoyed hearing our ugly mugs.
Feedback
Stars and bars.
of all levels of good and bad.
Like and surprise.
Like and subscribe. Yeah, if you're a photographer listening, like, get involved. Jump
involved.
in. Listen, come on in. The water's fine. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
On that note, here's the hard part.
We'll catch you guys in the next one.
He didn't make that very hard.
See you later.
Adios.